Princess Anne's brother, King Charles, has always been her best friend. They had an unbreakable bond and understood each other in a way that no one else could, even as children. Anne always put her brother and the needs of others before her own, showing courage and generosity even in difficult times. However, the delivery of her strange letter to King Charles took everyone by surprise. Why were Princess Anne's words so unexpected? Could it be that she was once again demonstrating her altruism? Read on to find out what Princess Anne's message was. Princess Anne's early life. Princess Anne's life was far from idyllic from the beginning, contrary to popular belief that princessdom is all sunshine and rainbows. She was Prince Philip and Princess Elizabeth's only daughter, born at Clarence House on the 15th of August, 1950. Although most people's fantasies about royal childhoods are unrealistic, hers wasn't. Anne was formed by separation, responsibility, and lofty expectations, despite the abundance of tradition and privilege in her life. Queen Elizabeth II was born in 1952 when Anne was just 18 months old. At that moment, her mother was no longer only her parent, she was also the country's monarch. While her brother Charles was educated by private tutors at Buckingham Palace, Anne was brought up mostly by nannies and governesses like Catherine Peebles. While many have said that Queen Elizabeth's royal responsibilities make her seem cold and distant, Anne has always been there for her mother. There is no evidence that the Queen's mother wasn't a loving parent. Princess Anne defended her in an interview from 2002. While her parents were occupied with royal duties, Anne's education was mostly overseen by governesses and tutors, just like her mother's. At the age of 13 in 1963, Anne enrolled in the prestigious Kentish boarding school, Benenden School. Despite the challenges, she flourished intellectually and gained independence by having to leave her home and family. Impressively, given her royal duties, she had completed 6 GCE O-levels and 2 A-levels by 1968. Anne loved horses deeply, and she also had a strong sense of duty to the royal family. With all her obligations and her passion for horses, how did she manage to keep it all in check? When asked about King Charles, what message did she deliver? Be sure to tune in to find out. At some point in her life, her love of horses took center stage. An important part of Princess Anne's story is her time spent competing in equestrian events. She began her international career as a bright and driven rider in the early 1970s. Anne became the first British royal to ever win a European championship in 1971 when she won the individual title at the European Eventing Championships. Despite all the obstacles she had to overcome, she managed to compete for Great Britain at the 1976 Olympics in Montreal on the eventing team. Anne found a release from the strict royal lifestyle and a new sense of purpose via horseback riding. Just because she was a princess didn't mean she was certain to win this tournament. Her perseverance paid off. In her spare time, she would also participate in horse races, such as Sandown Park's Grand Military Steeplechase and Royal Ascot's Diamond Stakes. Anne was a member of the British eventing team for 5 years, during which time she won silver at the 1975 European Eventing Championship in the individual and team categories. She competed in the badminton horse trials 5 times, from 1971 to 1979, and her best results were 4th in 1974 and 6th in 1979. She even raced a horse in the 1985 Epsom Derby for charity, coming in 4th. Not content to only ride, Anne also served as president of the Fédération Équestre Internationale from 1986 to 1994. While competing on BBC's A Question of Sport in 1987, she also achieved a little piece of royal history by being the first member of the royal family to participate as a competitor on a television quiz show. From 1971 until her election as president in 1985, Princess Anne has been an ardent supporter of the Riding for the Disabled Association. She is still serving in that capacity today. She was sent to Southmead Hospital in June 2024 with concussion symptoms and minor injuries, perhaps caused by a horse-related mishap. Still, her royal responsibilities and equestrian accomplishments have shaped her life. As early as the age of 18, Anne began accepting royal engagements and learning to handle the pressures of public life. The establishment of royal walkabouts in the 1970s was a very challenging aspect of her royal duties. Anne said that she, particularly as a teenager, found these public engagements challenging, despite their intended purpose of making the royal family more approachable. She admitted in an interview that walkabouts were her least favorite. Her happiness came from riding, but it couldn't shield her from the responsibilities of royalty. A lot of people have noticed that Anne isn't happy about being a princess and all the expectations that come with it. The fact that she was born a princess wasn't something she wanted, she reportedly stated, underscoring the demands of her position. Despite being the second child of Queen Elizabeth II, Anne forged her path, juggling her love of horses with her heavy royal responsibilities. Even more so now that her brother, King Charles, is king, she remains committed to the principle of sacrifice that has molded her life. Princess Anne, sometimes called the Princess Royal, was an invaluable aid to her mother, Queen Elizabeth, during her reign as monarch. She accompanied other members of the royal family to significant state and ceremonial engagements around the United Kingdom and abroad, acting as the Queen's representative. In her role as a working royal, Anne took part in many ceremonial events that the Queen presided over each year, including Trooping the Color and the Remembrance Day service at the cenotaph. During these times of national pride and reflection, the royal family rallied behind the Queen and the country as a whole. Representing the United Kingdom overseas has also been an important part of Anne's job. In addition to her considerable charitable activity, her duties as an ambassador included up to 3 annual trips to foreign countries for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. To promote the United Kingdom abroad, Princess Anne would frequently attend receptions with local business magnates and meet with politicians and government officials on her royal travels. For instance, in 2015, she marked the 20th anniversary of the Srebrenica atrocity by attending a commemoration event. She was a trailblazer in royal diplomacy in 1990 when she became the first member of the royal family to formally visit the Soviet Union. Recognizing accomplishments inside the UK and the Commonwealth has also been an important responsibility for the Princess Royal. Her duties as an emissary of the Queen included conducting investments and awarding medals to those named in the New Year's and Queen's birthday honors lists. Volunteers and service members from all walks of life were among the many individuals Anne met at these gatherings. She continued to meet individuals from all walks of life at garden parties hosted by Buckingham Palace and the Palace of Holyrood House. Princess Anne has always been dedicated to helping others, even outside of her official duties. How on earth did she manage to keep all of these balls in the air? Consider her charitable work and selfless acts of service. Life of service and philanthropy. There are more than 200 organizations that Princess Anne has formally supported. She is most known for her tenure as president of Save the Children and her ongoing position as a supporter of the organization. She has been to many of the nations where the organization conducts programs throughout the years, including South Africa, Mozambique, Ethiopia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Sierra Leone, and Bangladesh. Kenneth Kaunda, the president of Zambia at the time, nominated Anne for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1990 as a result of her selfless efforts. The Princess Royal Trust for Carers was established in 1991 to support those who provide care without compensation. One important aspect of her charitable activity is her involvement with St. John Ambulance. Anne often attends the Grand Prior Award reception and has been instrumental in guiding and supporting young people through St. John Ambulance Cadets in her role as Commandant-in-Chief. St. Andrew's First Aid is another charity that she supports, demonstrating her commitment to health, safety, and humanitarian efforts. It is a tribute to Princess Anne's commitment and perseverance that she can juggle her royal duties with her substantial charitable work. She continues to serve her nation and causes that are dear to her heart. The world's biggest non-governmental hospital ships are operated by Mercy Ships, an international charity that Princess Anne became a patron of in 2021. Also noteworthy is her role in sports administration. She was an integral part of the 2012 London Olympic Games' organizing committee and now represents Britain on the International Olympic Committee. Also, she was a member of the British Olympic Association's Executive Committee and competed for her country at the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia. Both Anne's scholarly work and her cultural contributions are noteworthy. Anne has been the Chancellor of the University of London since 1981, when the Queen Mother resigned when she was elected by the alumni of the institution. Her extensive background in the arts is further evidenced by her tenure as president of BAFTA, which spanned 1973 2001. 2 terms. In 1996 and 2017, saw her serve as the High Commissioner of Her Majesty to the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland. The Queen nominated Anne to the role of Grand Master of the Royal Victorian Order in 2007, carrying on her grandmother's legacy. She is the only royal to ever occupy the rank of Royal Fellow in the Academy of Medical Sciences, a recognition of her significant contributions to the fields of medicine and science. Her membership in the Royal Society further attests to this. Along with Prince William, the Duke of Kent, and King Charles, she will be one of the 4 Royal Fellows of the Royal Society as of 2022. Leadership roles. After her father resigned as Chancellor of the University of Edinburgh in 2010, Princess Anne was elected to the position in 2011. Following in her father's footsteps, she assumed the positions of President of the Royal Society of Arts, Master of the Corporation of Trinity House, and President of the City and Guilds of London Institute that same year. As a result of her many responsibilities, Princess Anne maintains several leadership positions in fields as diverse as sports, education, and charity, demonstrating her commitment to public service in all its forms. Princess Anne has spent her whole life serving the public, juggling a wide variety of positions and duties. In 2023, she replaced the Duke of Kent as President of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, and she also became President of the Commonwealth Study Conference, which her father had started. Anne also serves as a patron for TransAid, a nonprofit organization that was founded by the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport and Save the Children to provide sustainable and safe transportation options to underdeveloped nations. As the Royal Patron of WISE, an organization that inspires young women to pursue jobs in science, engineering, and construction, she is a staunch advocate for women in STEM. The National Lighthouse Museum's Illuminating Future Generations campaign, which aims to generate funding for the museum's exhibition area, appointed her honorary chair in 2022. Some ancient guilds, like the Worshipful Company of Carmen, the Worshipful Company of Farmers, and the Worshipful Company of Fishmongers, have appointed Anne to leadership roles throughout the years. Furthermore, in 2017, she assumed the role of Governor of Gresham School. Princess Anne made room in her hectic royal schedule for love. But will her love life be a bed of roses or a wild ride? Let us go into the stormy romance that Princess Anne experienced. In her private life, Princess Anne had many difficulties. The public was enthralled by the highly anticipated and celebrated first marriage of hers to Mark Phillips, a member of the Queen's Dragoon Guards. They became fast friends during a 1968 equestrian party when they met and became fast friends with one another. They were married in 1973 after being engaged in May of that year at Westminster Abbey, in front of an audience of 100 million people around the world. But controversy quickly shook their marriage. Their relationship was dogged by rumors of adultery. Princess Anne was said to have had encounters with actor Anthony Andrews and her bodyguard, while Mark Phillips was linked to other women. Commander Timothy Lawrence, the equerry to the Queen, was the center of the most substantial suspicion. The marriage came to a public end as a result of these tensions and suspicions of adultery. Princess Anne and Mark Phillips's marriage had collapsed by 1989, and the couple had separated. The killing blow was the confirmation, through DNA testing, that Phillips had fathered a child with Heather Tonkin, an art teacher from New Zealand. A 1992 legal divorce decree terminated the couple's already troubled marriage. Commander Timothy Lawrence, Anne's second husband, had a far more low-key wedding that same year. Only 30 people were present during the couple's intimate wedding ceremony at Crathy Kirk, close to Balmoral. Anne wore a more understated dress for her wedding than for her previous oneness. The couple then kept out of the spotlight, living a relatively private life, and Timothy was not granted a peerage. Anne seemed to have finally found stability in her marriage to Timothy after the upheaval of their first child. However, being a royal was not without its risks. A failed kidnapping was the most horrifying of Princess Anne's many experiences. The 20th of March, 1974, was the day of one of Princess Anne's most horrifying experiences. A Ford Escort suddenly blocked her and Mark Phillips's return to Buckingham Palace. Fortunately, a former boxer named Ron Russell, who was passing by, bravely intervened. The police arrived shortly afterward, and after a short chase, Ball was arrested. Although Anne was unhurt, the nation was shocked by what had happened. Particularly concerned for her safety, her brother, now King Charles, later advocated for increased royal protection. This horrific incident cemented Anne's image as a courageous and powerful woman and prompted major changes in the royal family's security measures. Anne remained determined to carry out her duties despite this event. 2 years later, in 1976, while training for the Montreal Olympics, she encountered another setback. Both her personal life and her public image were fraught with difficulties for Princess Anne. She had an accident in 1976. While training for the 1976 Montreal Olympics, she fell. In addition to suffering fractured vertebrae, bruising, and a concussion, she made an amazing recovery, although she spent several days in hospital and suffered amnesia. Anne returned to horse riding a few weeks later, aiming to set an example for the Olympic team. Now, let's go back to 2002, when Anne was in the news again, this time for an incident involving her dog, Dodie. Dodie ran after two boys on bicycles and knocked them down while she was walking her 3 bull terriers. Anne faced charges related to her dog's lack of control. While other members of the royal family were able to avoid legal consequences, Anne chose to face the issue head-on. She made sure Dodie was trained, paid a fine, and pleaded guilty. Anne handled her criminal conviction lightly, making her the first British princess to do so. King Charles, who respected her outspokenness, stood by her side silently throughout her grief. In addition to these high-profile trials, Princess Anne endured some personal tragedies. At the age of 99, her father, Prince Philip, passed away in 2021. In September of the following year, 2022, at the age of 96, her mother, Queen Elizabeth II, passed away. The royal family suffered a huge emotional loss with the sudden passing of both parents. However, Anne never wavered, standing by King Charles when he ascended the throne. Despite everything that was going on, Anne gracefully oversaw family affairs and was the first to welcome Prince Harry home for his grandmother's funeral. Her composure in the face of public and personal tragedy won her the admiration of her loved ones and the public. Anne was a trusted advisor to King Charles, who found comfort in her unwavering support and ability to remain calm in difficult circumstances. A look at King Charles's formative years and formal education will shed light on the nature of his relationship with Princess Anne. Stay tuned for more updates. Early years. While his grandfather, King George VI, was still on the throne, King Charles was born on the 14th of November, 1948. The birth of Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, the first child of Princess Elizabeth, later Queen Elizabeth II, and Prince Philip, was a momentous event for the royal family. Charles was baptized in the palace music room on the 15th of December, 1948, after being born by cesarean section at Buckingham Palace. George Fisher, Archbishop of Canterbury, officiated at the ceremony. Things changed when Charles was 3 years old. After his father's death in February 1952, Charles became heir apparent when his mother became Queen Elizabeth II. As a result, he was known as the Duke of Rothesay and Duke of Cornwall. He traveled to Westminster Abbey the following year to witness his mother's historic coronation. Rather than having private tutors, as the first heir to the throne, Charles bucked royal tradition by attending school. In 1956, Charles started school at Hill House School in West London. His headmaster, Stuart Townend, made sure he did not receive any special treatment and even encouraged him to play rugby as a way of keeping his head down. Charles continued his family tradition by attending Cheam School in Hampshire after his time at Hill House. Another Scottish institution his father had attended, Gordonstoun, he enrolled in 1962. Charles described Gordonstoun as colitis and kilts because of its initial harshness. Although he initially struggled with the school's strict nature, he later looked back on it more positively, noting that it had given him important life skills. Although he thought some of the school's rigor was a little too much, he was ultimately happy to attend, he said in a 1975 interview. In 1966, Charles broadened his horizons by attending Geelong Grammar School at the isolated Australian campus of Timbertop for 2 terms. During this time, he was able to gain experience of living independently and experiencing life outside the royal bubble. The story of King Charles's life, including his education and the duties he would undertake, will be revealed as we continue. Accompanied by his history teacher, Michael Collins Percy, King Charles toured Papua New Guinea while he was a student at Geelong Grammar School at Timbertop. Looking back, Charles said that his time at Timbertop was a formative period in his education. Back at Gordonstown, he continued to forge his path, eventually becoming head boy, a role that allowed him to demonstrate his leadership skills. With 6 O-levels and 2 A-levels in history and French, he graduated with B and C grades in 1967. Charles said he was unhappy at school and preferred to stay at home, despite his good grades. After completing his A-levels, William defied royal tradition and decided to go straight to university rather than join the British Armed Forces. He began studying at Trinity College, Cambridge, in October 1967. His major changed from archaeology and anthropology to history as he neared the end of his degree. Charles spent a term at Aberystwyth at the University College of Wales in his second year, where he studied Welsh history and even learned the language. After completing his Bachelor of Arts at Cambridge University in June 1970, Charles made history as the first British heir to the throne to attend university. In August 1975, as was customary, his Bachelor of Arts was upgraded to a Master of Arts. Their shared experiences as children in the royal family have maintained a close bond between King Charles and Princess Anne. As children of the spotlight, they learned to support and understand one another as they handled the difficulties of royal duty. Loyalty and silliness have always defined their sibling connection. Despite their own obligations and hectic schedules, they have always found time to spend with one another, and they take solace in reminiscing about the good old days. They are so close that they can always count on one another through the highs and lows of public and private life. Charles and Anne have both fully embraced their responsibilities as members of the royal family since becoming adults, and they frequently appear together as representatives of the monarchy at different venues. Both siblings have a deep appreciation for the responsibilities and obligations that accompany their titles, and their common dedication to duty and service has only served to strengthen their friendship. Their bond has been a rock for Charles through thick and thin, and Anne has been an invaluable confidant in times of transition. Bond. They have an unshakable friendship that has helped them overcome the difficulties of royal life and celebrate each other's successes. As we go further into their relationship, we will examine the occasions that have strengthened their friendship and the ways in which they have been there for each other. Keep watching. Their friendship has become stronger than ever before when Princess Anne became King Charles's consort. Their close bond as children was facilitated by the just 21 months that separated them in age. Nannies and governesses looked after Anne and Charles while their parents were busy with royal tasks. Anne, according to her relatives and friends, was an independent thinker and leader, even when she was a little girl, frequently posing a threat to her brother's crowning. When they were young, their friendship was cemented by their mutual love of horses and the great outdoors. They had a great day riding, going to polo tournaments, and adventuring throughout the countryside. Charles, who respected Anne for her strength and determination, was occasionally overshadowed by her boldness and self-assurance. Despite the usual animosity between siblings, they were very committed to serving their family and the royal institution. Their intimacy was on full display during major public events, such as the 2022 coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. While Charles was getting ready to become king, Anne was at his side the whole time. Their unbreakable tie shone out during the burial procession, as Anne's steadfast support demonstrated their profound connection. Anne was essential as a gold stick in waiting at Charles's coronation, a duty that ensured the monarch's protection. This recognition demonstrated not just her commitment to her role as a princess, but also the faith Charles had in her. Anne rode in procession behind him to represent her pivotal role in his rule. There has been a recent shift in their sibling relationship. Anne has become one of Charles's closest confidantes, and he depends on her as king. Her unwavering support and willingness to shoulder extra tasks help lighten his load as a prince. Anne subtly assumed responsibility for her brother Charles after he disclosed his cancer diagnosis in February 2024, keeping up with her hectic royal engagement calendar all the while providing emotional support. The unfaltering dedication of Anne, one of the busiest royals, to Charles, has garnered her admiration both within and outside of the royal family. They are more than just a team. They are inseparable. Additionally, it includes moments of warmth and humor. As an example of the kind and loving friendship that existed between them, Anne fondly referred to Charles as Old Bean during his crowning festivities. Navigating the intricacies of royal life together, their journey as siblings is a monument to their perseverance devotion, and commitment to one another. Princess Anne and King Charles's fondness for one another is shown via their playful sibling banter. Underneath their official titles and royal responsibilities, they have a connection built on mutual regard and shared experiences. Despite dealing with their own unique set of problems, they have always been able to draw strength from one another. In the wake of their parents' deaths, Anne was there for Charles, and he was there for her as she went through her divorce from Mark Phillips. Anne privately worried about Charles's health once he became king because she saw the strain that great responsibility was putting on him. But Anne and Queen Camilla have a more complicated and troubled relationship. They may share a royal lineage, but they've never had a genuine bond. Camilla's more laid-back attitude to royal duties frequently clashes with Anne's strong work ethic and dedication to duty, leading to irritation for both of them. This was most obviously seen when Camilla went on vacation soon after King Charles was diagnosed with cancer. During a period of staff shortages and workload issues, Anne felt this holiday was superfluous and almost frivolous, especially because she had voluntarily taken on extra royal engagements. Those familiar with the royal family say that Anne, who was good at masking her emotions, began to worry about Camilla's commitment to her royal responsibilities. In private, she doubted Camilla's competence as queen and thought she should be called Queen Consort, a more revered and weighty title. However, in public, she was diplomatic. Despite all of this, in February of 2024, once Charles received the news that he had cancer, Princess Anne sent him a touching note. People thought she gave her everything to help her brother out when he was going through a tough period, and this message was her last sacrifice. The effect of this message on their relationship is yet uncertain, but it shows that Anne is prepared to put her brother's happiness ahead of her. The dynamics of the royal family are always changing, and the ties between these important characters will affect the monarchy's destiny. How well the royal family weathers these storms together will depend critically on the depth of Anne and Charles's relationship and the complexity of Anne's connection with Camilla. The public and the royal family were stunned by Princess Anne's behavior after Queen Elizabeth II's death. In a sincere letter, she told King Charles her intentions and asked to be left out of his will. As a brother dealing with the emotional fallout of his sister's choice, Charles found this incredible act of selflessness all the more moving. A strong feeling of responsibility and devotion to maintaining the monarchy informed Anne's decision, which nearly brought her to tears at a family meeting. King Charles was relieved of a heavy financial load when she took herself out of her mother's bequest. After careful consideration, Anne, the only daughter of the Queen and a devoted working royal, decided to transfer the whole estate to the future monarch without subjecting it to the 40% inheritance tax that is applicable under British law. It was Anne's preference to pay for her costs and those of her brothers, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, rather than relying on their family's fortune. This over $850 million commitment was about more than simply the money. Her dedication to the royal family and the institution was emphasized in her message. Many were shocked by Anne's decision, Queen Camilla included. King Charles's heartfelt reaction demonstrated the depth of his relationship with Anne, which is based on their unwavering devotion to one another. Charles was deeply impressed by Anne's selflessness in putting the monarchy ahead of her interests. Anne's level of selflessness. Princess Anne's unexpected and multidimensional side frequently sets her apart from other royal family members, despite her unfaltering commitment to royal obligations. She is well respected for her unwavering dedication to important causes, particularly those involving charity and service, and her feisty independence. Anne is a talented equestrian who has competed internationally for Great Britain, in addition to her royal duties. Riding horses and being passionate about them is more than a hobby for her. It's who she is. As an equestrian sports advocate, she has continued to participate in major events like the Olympics. Anne is also well known for being forthright and not shying away from expressing her ideas. In a society where convention and formality are the norm, her candor are appealing qualities that win her many fans. She is unlike any other queen because of her unwavering devotion to her philanthropic work, her passion for equestrian pursuits, and her candor about life and her responsibilities as a princess. The altruistic deeds and lively personality of Princess Anne are being more and more seen as the royal family faces difficulties and changes, which further highlights her significance for the future of the monarchy. Princess Anne's unconventional side. Princess Anne's personality is only one of the several things that make her unique among royals. Anne has forged her own path in life, independent of the conventional wisdom about monarchs, and she has never wavered from her dedication to her royal responsibilities, no matter how frequently she defies convention. Symbolic of long-standing public duty, Anne has been called the rock-solid confidant of the royal family. Her unwavering commitment to her duty has been proven at over 20,000 events since she turned 18. Nevertheless, she chose not to bestow royal titles on her children, even though they were second in line to the throne. Her viewpoint, which is progressive and uncommon within the context of royal traditions, displays her belief in personal autonomy over royal privilege, and this choice represents that. While she may come off as aloof and haughty in media portrayals, anybody who has had the pleasure of meeting her will attest to her ferocious intellect and charisma. Her father, Prince Philip, bestowed on her a quick wit, which contributed to her one-of-a-kind personality. During her early appearances before the public, Anne was to discuss her involvement with organizations like Save the Children because she felt it was important to speak from personal experience. She made the point that helping others is more important than receiving praise for one's efforts. This viewpoint exemplifies her determination to have a positive impact, not only carry out her royal responsibilities for the show. The title of hardest-working royal is a testament to her dedication to her job. She had more engagements than any other member of the royal family between 2002 and 2022, totaling 11,088. The public and media alike have praised Anne, the most adored British royal, for her hands-on attitude. Her down-to-earth personality is further demonstrated by her unconventional habits, such as applying her cosmetics and driving herself to events. The fact that she fixes fences at her estate and even waits in line at events shows how down-to-earth she is, despite her royal rank. She further emphasizes her emphasis on pragmatism over formality by not participating in traditional public activities like shaking hands during walkabouts. Along with the National Lighthouse Museum, Anne has backed less mainstream organizations like the Wet Wheels Foundation, which works to ensure that everyone may enjoy sailing. Her dedication to a wider variety of social concerns is demonstrated by her readiness to support unusual projects. Princess Anne's altruistic gesture of giving up her fortune to maintain the monarchy highlights her profound sense of responsibility and devotion about the message she shared with King Charles. She prioritizes the institution before personal benefit, and it shows in her belief. This selflessness is a reflection of her character, and many people look up to her because of it. Opinions may differ on whether King Charles deserves such a noble deed. Since losing both of his parents so quickly, Charles has had to deal with a great deal of difficulty in his duty as king. He seems to grasp the seriousness of her gesture given the strong relationship he has with Anne, which is based on loyalty and mutual respect. Although he is burdened with royal duties, his heartfelt response to Anne's choice shows how much he appreciates her commitment and the sacrifices she has made. As a valued member of the royal family, Princess Anne's unorthodox side has been cemented by her unfaltering dedication to duty and advocacy. Her devoted and supportive connection with King Charles exemplifies the unbreakable links that run through the royal family, even when members face hardship and personal sacrifice. We appreciate you watching. Please comment and like the video, and subscribe to our channel for the latest celebrity news. You can also watch one of our other great videos by clicking on the video currently playing on your screen.